Good evening and welcome to another edition of African Americans Ain't Africans, the Thing Show that proves without a shadow of a doubt that the so-called African American didn't find himself to America in the trunk of a ship. I'm your host, the Indigenous One. One of the things that I'm noticing, we have all these people who's claiming to be chattel slaves. Slaves. I'm black. Whatever you can think of to call yourself. This is what we're teaching our kids to call themselves. And when it finally get to the point where they're put in that position of being a chattel slave, they're gonna have nobody to thank but you. See, still playing these games, still playing these games. I got turned on to some different groups of people that's calling themselves ADOS, uh, what's the Foundation of Black Americans? All these different groups. I guess the Foundation of Black Americans are the new African Americans. You see how they keep every generation or so they keep trying to drag you away from the land, and it's normally the Negroes who are doing it, all so they can get a check. What I tell you, copper colored lifestyle. How are you doing this evening? And I want to thank you for donating to African Americans Ain't Africans. You're a sweetheart. We have all these people just putting into your heads that you're a slave, that you nothing, nobody wanted you, nobody cares about you. Now these are the people that y'all send more money to them than you tithe to the church. And all these people keep doing is teaching you that you are the bottom of the bucket in your own home. No, we've been going the last 12 years telling you the truth. Simple. If you just think about it, you get it. It's simple. Your people told you that these people speak with forked tongue, yet you keep going to suck on the forked tongue. What's up with that? Tonight we're going to show you some things that, you should get. This shit is simple. You're supposed to be the black man and know everything and got all this information. If you simply thought about some stuff, you would see it totally different. But unfortunately, we don't believe in thinking. We'd rather leave that to somebody else, won't we? Joining me tonight is the Accomack clan mother, Lisa Cypress, and you know how she do on every Friday. This sister's working. This sister's getting her people together up there in Accomack country. And she's doing all this stuff. Most of us don't even look up our own families. So hear what this sister has to say, because she has done the work, is doing the work, and is a damn good researcher. Damn good researcher. Listen to what this sister says about what was going on during the time you were taking a cruise over here to America. Lisa, how you doing, love?
Hey, Oseyo, Kayuk, everyone. Good evening, chat. Thank you for being here. Thank you for having me. Indigenous one, you're the best. You do it the best. You are the best. Everybody like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Tell a friend when you get on those apps, when you're on Instagram, when you're TikToking, when you're, sharing your, memes. Make sure you let people know about the Indigenous one because. He's been working hard. He's been putting it down for a very long time. And he needs people to know about him because they're listening to people that really, half of these people that are out here talking for real, are foreigners. Like they're really foreigners. Like they are not American Indians at all. So we need to be mindful of that. Understand, I know everybody likes to be entertained, they like information, and but you need to understand these people are not just sources, they're sorcerers. They're sorcerers. Some of them are going so far as actually trying to steal your identity. Okay, so be mindful. People offering to do your genealogy for free. Ain't nothing in the world for free. A quick search here and there, that's not bad. But if they actually trying to really do your genealogy for free, um, yeah, it's not. First of all, genealogy is not fun. It's quite extensive, and if somebody's really, saying they're going to do some extensive work, that's probably something else that they're up to. So just like be safe out there, and take it light. Understand that lot of these people, look at them a little bit, one eye shut, squinch the other one, look at them real careful, and ask them for their receipts. Who are they? What are they doing? What have they done? What are they doing with their family? How are they organizing? What are they doing for themselves? How are they researching themselves? That kind of thing. Because people claim to be, they just lie. I know this is the thing about Indians. American Indians, we just love everybody. Hello, Pony Locks. Thank you. And we love everybody. So that's the thing. When we love everybody, we think everybody's like us, especially if they tell us. If they tell us they us, we believe them. Because we would never do that. We would never be like, I'm gonna pretend I'm somebody else. We don't do that. So it's just harder for us to conceive of people just being fraudulent, looking in our faces, lying to our faces when they know good doggone well that they from Nigeria or somewhere else, and whatever, and they just are blatantly lying to folks and taking people's money and doing all this stuff, and you can't conceive of it because you good hearted and you're the soul people. But understand that that's why they're there, because they know we're good hearted and they know we're soul people, and they know we're really desperate to have answers, and so they're in there trying to supply the answers and take the cash. So thank you for being supportive of Indigenous One. Just as a person that is actually, moved back to his homeland, doing research and getting their stuff together. His whole family is getting more and more involved every day. He's been talking to folks, getting folks together, just doing the things that all of us need to do. And that's real. Real people do real things. So just keep that in mind.
And this is another thing we have to keep in mind too. You got to start being able to look at your people and tell who they are. Why we just don't know. We want to be all these other people. We pretend like we look like figments of other people's imagination. Somebody tell you a character in the Bible, you believe it. And all you're doing is confusing everybody around you. Because most, over 90%, don't ever read the Bible, because if you read the first 5 pages, you would put it down. Don't see that I do this with elder people, because they like to talk like they've shown us something and Jesus did something for them, and Jesus done nothing for you, your mother, your grandmother, your great nothing. So this is the type of mindset we keep passing down to our children. Anybody can come tell us anything and we'll fight for them before you fight for your own family. That's how the African American does it. The African American will be 50 different nationalities, but won't be who his great grandmom and daddy is. So we'll go around calling ourselves black, which means nothing. I ask people, oh, so you're the same color as your hair, huh? Well, I don't know. We call ourselves stuff and we're looking at ourselves. Everybody can look at themselves and tell they're not black, but it just skips our mind and we call ourselves, we're proud. I mean, we do it better than James Brown did it with that perm in his head, don't we? We call our so we're actually slitting our own throats because you calling yourself, you letting the world know you nothing. Imagine that. Imagine if you went to a country as mineral rich, plant rich, mineral rich as America, and the people who landed was called themselves shit. What would you think? That's what we do. Everybody got their own religions. You're calling yourself the religions of the people that came and took your land. How do you think the rest of the world looks at you? And we are proud. So this is for the young folks. Question everything. Everything, especially everything that your mom and daddy tell you. Question everything. Now we call ourselves chattel slaves. Chattel slaves aren't human. They're like, what would you call it, Lisa? They're not human. I know they're subhuman, but what would you call it? Like that Smeagol in Lord of the Rings?
Right. I mean, we're just like a side of beef. We ain't even okay, really. Because like, okay, so when you have livestock, your livestock, the what is the goal of livestock? Either you're gonna use them to milk them like a cow and just have a milk cow, but eventually they're gonna be sent to the slaughterhouse. Okay, let's just let that marinate. Cattle, which will eventually just be sent to a slaughterhouse. So are you saying that your people were just cattle that were going to eventually be slaughtered? That's what you come from? That's what your ancestors were? Is that it?
Yeah.
Because I know that if you really did your research, you're going to find a lot to be proud of in your ancestry. Somewhere along the way, you're going to be like, wow. You're going to find things that really supersede Harriet Tubman, all these other people that you sit up there and you're taught these dumb names in school. You're going to find people in your family tree that are way cooler than that. And, you're sitting around calling them chattel, like cattle, like a pig waiting to be slaughtered, just getting fattened up or, whatever. Or some kind of, cow that's or ox is pulling a plow and then he's going to end up being oxtails like that.
I mean, and I'm
That's
lit
not
by.
that's not how I see my people as. I don't understand why they feel like in order for someone to get reparations or they have to demean themselves or they have to demean their ancestors, or it requires that we say that we were degraded in such a way by slavery. It's what? We get degraded every day. That slaughter and the daggone mutilation and the daggone, assaults and the terrorism never ends. We don't have to dramatize slavery to qualify for reparations. You know that. I mean, I don't understand why they act like they have to make it like, oh, I was just a chattel slave. Don't even have it researched. Don't know nothing about their family tree. Don't know what really happened as far as their history. But they want to claim this lie as a whole unit and gonna get mad if anybody says anything different, when if we know good and well, having done our research, that is just not that just is not true. It's not true of everyone. Of course, there's stories. Of course, there's people that were treated horribly, and there's horrible places where people were enslaved, and it was cruel and unusually horrible. But yes, yeah, that's true. But then again, there was a lot of people walking around free, owning plantations, people walking around free, working, getting paid, saving money. There's stories of this, and we're going to talk about that in a little bit. We're going to talk about a story that is based on, that's what they based the Uncle Tom's Cabin story on. This gentleman, also from Maryland, Maryland, that's where they get all good stories come from, evidently, of slavery. We're gonna talk about that in a second.
So just to let you know,
Hey,
can you hear me?
Buck.
Yes.
Anyway, let me continue on. Well, anyway, let's talk about that whole thing of like why all good stories come from Maryland. This is the thing about why did they have Harriet Tubman story and others, this other story, which is Hosea Josiah Henson. Why do these stories? Josiah Henson's from Maryland, and so is Harriet Tubman. Now, why do these people that also have fictitious names? Why they both have fictitious names or real names? Because she's Araminta Ross. Her name is not Harriet Tubman. In case y'all didn't know it, and y'all probably already know it, but her name was Araminta Ross. And she was a spy, and let's not go into that. But here we have a story of Josiah Henson. He has a fictitious name also. He is considered to be the inspiration for Uncle Tom of Uncle Tom's Cabin. So let's just look at this little short clip, and then I'm going to kind of go into a little bit about it, because it actually, yeah, there's a lot to his story. Can you play that? The master's property included Josiah, Charlotte, and sons. Is it playing and no sound? The master concocted a plan. Hello? I don't hear nothing. To hide the slaves from his creditors. Right. Having Josiah take them to his brother's plantation in Kentucky.
It keeps stopping.
Is that playing, Buck?
It's playing, but it has like a little glitch in it. It keeps stopping.
Huh.
So it'll go a few seconds.
Is it muted?
No,
maybe that's what it is.
He passes through Cincinnati.
I see him moving. Buck, I can't hear nothing. Can you? Is there something? Is there a way we can make it?
Got a glitch in it. It's like it got a. Can you explain it though?
Well, but I guess I'll just talk over it. So basically, this is the descendant of Josiah Henson. And what it's talking about is the first document you see is that Josiah Henson, he was a faithful slave, right? He was a Christian, a good Christian man. Again, we're using Christianity to kind of like, keep us in line, keep us compliant, keep us subdued, right? And he followed that to a letter. In fact, he actually became overseer of the plantation. They made him overseer, and the productivity on the plantation got even better after he became overseer. And then even though he was making all this money for his master, as you can see, the court decision and order says right of foreclosure. So they were foreclosing on the plantation despite all of Josiah's hard work and getting all his Negro cousins. Now, see, I don't even know, because see, I'm thinking Josiah might be a foreigner, because the more I listen to the story, think about the story, I'm thinking he might be just like these black BLM people and all this stuff, these foreign people trying to come in and subjugate us and all that kind of stuff, and be our daggone be in our prisons and be our daggone you know, uh, you know, prison guards and stuff like that. So this is him. He became a overseer. He became an overseer. Then it became the plantation was foreclosed. So the whole plantation was supposed to be sold. The whole entire state. That means slaves included. So his family was going to get sold off. So the plantation owner came up with the idea that said, "Oh, I know I want to send y'all to my brother. I'm not giving, having y'all sold with the estate. Now, legally, like if your estate's foreclosed and that's your slaves are part of the estate, they're part of the sale. But no, he had Josiah smuggle. Now, see, in this story, his descendant says, "Oh, he don't even act like it was a smuggle. He act like Josiah was just a good old faithful, good Christian man doing what his master told him." And so Josiah heads from Maryland to Kentucky because his brother was in Kentucky. Now, there's a then the descendant says, "Oh yeah," and he stopped in Cincinnati or somewhere in Ohio. I don't know if there was a Cincinnati at that time, but he stopped in Ohio. And I'm like, wait a minute, now, you don't have to go through Ohio from Maryland. Now, if you look at this map that I just thing, you can see Ohio to get um to get to Kentucky. He had to make a trip. He had to go up into Ohio to get to Ohio because you can miss it. You can miss Ohio. Now, I mean, and actually, like, see, that's a major highway route, but all our major highway routes are the Indian trails. So most likely, this highway route is probably how they would have gone if they had walked. It probably is not that much different. And then different parts of Virginia, like they have to, avoid like mountains. You would want to avoid mountains and stuff because some of that part up there is mountainous. So and then West Virginia, so you kind of gotta, miss the Appalachians and stuff. So that's probably why it kind of veers upward, like that. I don't know, So anyway, not knowing the actual terrain, but having an idea of it, I'm just telling y'all. But basically, my point of being is somehow this brother had the freedom to go and travel with these slaves, and this is smuggling, this is slave smuggling that is directed by his master. Okay, so and then he don't listen. Well, he does his own thing, right? Goes to there going Ohio, the free state over there, as we're passing Lexington, right near the end of Lexington, and he goes all the way up in Ohio. They're like, "Yeah, yo, it's free here. Why don't you stay? Like, why are y'all going to Kentucky to be slaves? Like, why don't y'all all stay here?" All the other slaves want to stay there. He decides to be the faithful servant. And Josiah took the slaves to Kentucky as his master had state wanted. Now let me remind you, this is a smuggle. This ain't even legal. Okay, so he takes this he takes the slaves to Kentucky, and they could have been free. And then once he gets to Kentucky, he finds out that them slaves were slated to go be sold off to the deep, deep South, the worst, cruelest plantation area that they could ever go to. All those slaves went there, but his family, for some reason, stayed in Kentucky, right? And he got to stay free and go back to Washington, I guess, and meet up with his master. I mean, go back to Maryland and meet up with his master. But then when he's supposed to go back to Maryland, he don't go straight back to Maryland. Once again, he goes up to Ohio. He goes up to Ohio, learns how to be a preacher. I mean, he must have been up there for months. He earned money. Y'all, the story is crazy. He went up there. He earned like 300 some dollars. Came back to there going Maryland and is like, "I'm gonna buy my freedom." Gives the money to a slave master to buy I guess, his and his family, or at least his freedom. And the master gives him a paper. He thinks that's his freedom paper. He goes back to Kentucky and be like, "Yeah, I'm free. I'm going to get my other people." I think he stopped again, made some more money up north in Ohio preaching and carrying on. And anyway, he went to go buy his family's freedom. And then the brother tells him, "No, this ain't freedom papers. It says you owe another $600. I can't. That's what. Okay, so this is this is the
Well,
story of Josiah Henson, right? All right, so Josiah Henson. Okay. So then Josiah Henson somehow I think he steals away because he's like now all of a sudden he feels remorseful. He thinks he realizes finally that these people don't mean him no good. So he steals away with his family and they hightail it on out to freedom because of course he's been traveling all over the place. He definitely goes all over the place. So they make it to Ohio to freedom, and then they meet up with somebody else because Ohio ain't far enough for him. That ain't enough freedom for him, and probably who knows what he was doing to get all that money in Hawaii and Ohio anyway. So he ended up leaving Ohio, going straight up to Canada, and then a bunch of them formed a settlement up there. Okay, so then Josiah Henson, they formed a settlement. They realized that there's a lot of black walnut up there, and they start making chairs out of the black walnut trees, and nice and oil them, sand them down, and they got these nice little chairs they're making. And so fast forward, he ends up bringing some chairs to England to show at a showcase. So they started making money with these chairs and stuff. They actually were doing good, turning profits and making out good lifestyle and everything. He brings it to a showcase they had, Queen Victoria. Josiah, it becomes a model Negro, right? So fast forward, the woman who wrote the book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, is called on the block because they're like, look, you ain't from the South. You don't know nothing about the South. How you writing this story about Uncle Tom? That's not how the Negroes are down here. They probably said these Negroes got more land than you got. They got everything. What are you talking about this guy being, this is not a real story, da 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 da. They just laid her out on this Uncle Tom thing. And so much to the point that she had to write another book that's called The Key to Uncle Tom. And she had to write, she listed all these citations and different information to support all the different allegations that they were calling into question of these characters and this different things that she cited in her book. And she used Josiah Henson as her so-called inspiration that she had gotten. She heard the story about him from her brother or somebody, and so she listed him as the inspiration for the Uncle Tom character. Then Josiah gets famous for him being listed in the key book for the Uncle Tom story and Uncle Tom's Cabin story. So he goes touring around the nation, representing himself as Uncle Tom. Then people start calling him into question because they're like, your name ain't Uncle Tom. How are you Uncle Tom? And then he's like, well, that's what people say about me. It's just a whole bunch of shenanigans and fraudulent stuff. It's crazy.
that's how it
So we
goes.
have to understand that these people are put up here just like Black Lives Matter, like BLM. These people are just put up front to showcase, to give propaganda to make us believe certain things. And at the time, that was to make people believe the whole slave thing, the good slave, and what the good slave, and how this happens, and oh, this was happens, and he went to freedom, went all the way to Canada. I don't even. I was just discussing with the indigenous when I was like, wait a minute, why would anybody who's really from Maryland, like all my people from Maryland, I got a whole lot of people from Maryland, that if that's the case, right? Just like if I got people from Virginia, you got a whole lot of people from Virginia. So if all your people from Maryland, why would you like just steal away with your kid and stuff, a kid and maybe your wife and children? Why would you go all the way to Canada? Like you wouldn't leave all your kin go that far. Like why would you go that far when Maryland is next to so many free states? Like it's really Ohio, boop boop boop, Pennsylvania, boop boop boop, New York. Why would you go all the way to Canada if you're really an American? If Josiah Henson was really American, why would he go that far? You same thing with Harriet Tubman. Why would Harriet Tubman? She had half of her family was already free. Araminta Ross's daddy was free. Her daggone husband was free. Probably some aunties, a whole lot of people in her family. Probably half her family was already free people of color. Why would you go all the way to Canada when you already got people that's already your whole family? They're already free. Like, why do you have to run so far? So these people are either some kind of agents or some kind of foreigners or maybe both, because it just doesn't add up. It doesn't make sense that they would go running all the way up there when they had so many people down here. So anyway, that just goes to show you that these people, they got all kinds of agendas. Half of them ain't even who they claim to be, and they've been doing it since the beginning. You've had all these people beginning. It's been something that they do to put us off the truth. It's been something they do to give you the story that they want you to remember, the story that they want you to focus on. Oh yeah, the slaves, we want to free the slaves for the Civil War. Nah, they don't want to free the slaves. They want you to think they want to free the slaves. They don't want you to know that all these Negroes own this land all over this country, and they wanted to get that out of our hands. They want you to think that you're the downtrodden, daggone slaves that they got to free because you can't do nothing for yourself.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing. And see, that's on us, is because we always calling ourselves. So,
But
yes, can you hear me?
You there?
Can you hear me?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Anyway, let's get back on that. So basically, you're looking at the fact that these people are weaving tales to make you think what they want you to think. And even in the fact that he's traveling from Maryland to Kentucky, he didn't have to go nowhere near Ohio, but he was going all over the place just so he could do what he wanted to do. But when his family tell the story, they're like, "Oh, he was a real good Christian man, and he did what his master told him, so he delivered the people to Kentucky." But really, he wasn't. He was a daggone Uncle Tom in every sense of the word. Like he really was an Uncle Tom. And they try to act like they're trying to remix the story and act like he was some kind of great figure in history, when really he wasn't. Like those people were sold into these horrible conditions for generations and generations, while he was living his life, going to England, starting businesses, making money, and for generations and generations he's winning, you know.
Can
But
you hear me
that's what
now?
people do to you, you know. They want to be you. They want to take over they want you to they want you to adhere to the rules, right? The rule was we going over to the uncle's house, right? We're gonna go back to slavery. But then for him and his people, oh, he the first thing he did was get his folks free. They had no chance of getting free being sold into the conditions they were sold into. But he delivered all those people right into it. See, that's how diabolical it is. That's how diabolical it is dealing with people that look like you, act like you, live with you, but then gonna treat you like that. And that's the real story of the Uncle Tom story. And that's the real deal behind Josiah Henson. Josiah Henson was really, that
Testing.
was horrible what he did.
Testing.
But see, that happens all the time. So now it's the thing about, are we going to repeat our history? We got people trying to tell us to be chattel slaves. We got people to tell us to be called what, freedmen, and call yourself foundational this and all that, because they think that they're going to get something out of it, or whatever the reason. And how long has it been since they've been putting this claim in? Buck, how long has it been?
It has to be what, 40 years?
It has to be 40 years since they put that claim, that HR 40 thing. And how many trillions of dollars have been given away to foreigners and anybody that has gone through nothing in this country in the past 40 years? How many trillions? And not even millions. It's more than millions, because we know he just put out 30 million to just buy us crack pipes. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for the crack pipes. So if you're gonna throw out 30 million for crack pipes, he gonna throw out I don't know how many millions and trillions for people that's been detained at a border that they cross illegally. He threw out how many trillions of dollars for all these people from Afghanistan who's been pushed into this country. We got, y'all don't know, they got camps of them in New Jersey. Y'all know about where these Afghanistan are? I mean, because they talk about this stuff, and you know how we are like good American Indians, we forget, right? It's in the news, and then they start talking about, and when we forget, right? Well, they're all over the place. There's tons of them in Virginia. They got whole kind of camps. They got schools set up. In fact, I'm supposed to do a talk with a second, I think a second grade class of daggone Afghanistan immigrant children who they want to know the real story of the indigenous people of America. I ain't mad at them for wanting them to know the true story. That's great. But then think about how much effort and daggone money and daggone is being thrown into their education, where our kids got policed in the damn classroom trying to jack them up and put them in jail, you know?
Yeah, but I still, all that's going on, I still, we got to look at our hands in all this. We have to look at what are we doing to make it happen? Because when we assist, what are we doing for ourselves? You know what I'm saying? That's what a slave is to me, somebody who helps build another man's empire on his land. That's what a slave is. You can play that cookie
Right.
kid shit all you want, but the reality is most of us are slaves today because we can't even be respectful towards each other. If you're wrong, or if I'm wrong, I want to be right. I'll change the way I think. Somehow we don't do that. We'll be wrong, like you're saying, you're doing this Bill HR 40. Who gives a slave anything? Slaves never, that's what a slave is. A slave does what he does because that's what he want to do. He don't have to do it. He want to do it. He loves doing it. Don't never let nobody tell you that you came over here in a boat. You should embarrass them for telling you such a dumb story, because that's all they do. Like the stories we shared tonight, they're dumb, and we don't even figure it out. We don't even think about figuring it out. What does this mean? Why would she take people up? Why would she take people through snow when I know there's some of us who love snow, but the people I know hate it? I mean, if Florida's right there, if the South where it's warm down there, why would she take people up north?
Why would you go so far? Like, why
Right.
why did she go all the way to Canada and like settle over there? What kind of people did that? You know what I mean? I don't believe these people that actually ran all the way up to Canada were actually us. I don't believe that they were Americans, you know. You know, we don't run to Canada. I would not run to Canada, even though Canada looks like New Jersey to me, like a lot of it. But anyway, but I would not run to Canada, and I know it's also North America, but in a sense, but you know, I'm just saying, the reality is that most of us ain't going up. We're not going to do that. If something happened, that would not be like, I'm running to Canada like the first thing. I'm not really running to Canada, you know, especially when you have you leaving free states. They were going through one free state after another to get to Canada. Why? Who does that?
That makes no sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And that's when other people tell your story, you're going to be what they say. See, that's what the African American is doing now. African Americans have no history. If somebody can find me an African American in 1970, I'll send you a free copy of my book. Show me an African American in 1970. And see, this is what these people are doing now. They're calling their great grandmothers. Their great grandfathers, Africans, African Americans, and those people even never uttered the term, but their children, their great grandchildren refer to them as that. That don't sound like genocide to y'all? Huh? You gonna call your grandmama something? See, this is how they get rid of you. You calling your grandmama something? All you doing is hooking up the foreigners to them. Kara Brittany, African Americans ain't Africans. That's all you're doing. You're calling people back in the 1800s African Americans. They're calling people from Africa African Americans now. What do you think you're doing? You're handing over your bloodline to other people. Because African Americans, that term wasn't used like it's used today, 1988. Right when they start coming out with them gangster rap and gangster music, the plan is to erase you. That's the plan. You don't see it? When you do what Lisa's saying, do a genealogy, you'll look in there and you'll see that a lot of the men are 70 years old and having kids. Aren't they? Some of your grandfathers, great grandfathers were that old. How is it now that everybody needs Viagra? Everybody needs whatever they make.
Because they're poisoning us. They're poisoning us when we're taking it all in because we're so dependent on them. They ate
So,
the real food that they grew, the real
right,
animals that they raised, the rate, when
right.
you're an animal, when you feed your animal and you eat those animals, you know what they eat. I know I gave them grubs. I let them go inside the garden. I let them eat some worms. They had some good, cloves and stuff like this. They had some cornmeal, And so when you have an egg from a chicken that I mean, that one egg, you have to eat four eggs to be full. One egg from a homegrown chicken that you raise will keep you full all day long. I ain't even lying to you. It's crazy. But that's how different the nutrition is. We have to eat more because it's empty. They talk about empty calories. It ain't just honey buns. All this shit is empty. All of it. So
Honey
so that's
buns.
like what I said, the honey buns. Hey, gotta keep it real. So that's the thing. I mean, we have to understand they're killing us from on every front. They're killing us on every front. We're being we are being misled by these people who want to be chattel. They want to be called chattel slave. Don't never let nobody tell you are a chattel slave. Like that's insane. The whole remix here is that the Europeans, baby, I don't know if y'all seen any, footage or been to Scotland or Ireland or it's real pretty. It's not like it's a pretty that's some pretty land. Not be cool. It's cooler, but it's pretty. And so these people were done out by those damn European kin. They wanted that land. They wanted that land and wouldn't let them have nothing. They squares them out of existence. They don't know about democracy or government or having a daggone constitution or having a confederacy. They don't know nothing about that. They're used to bloodline, marrying their cousins, keeping it in that daggone royalty, having everything, and the peasants having nothing. That's what they're used to. So how do you think they come out of starvation, getting beaten off their land, fighting wars, because these people were war torn people who were getting run off the daggone continent because they were like, look, I don't trust your asses. We just beat you. We want to make this the United Kingdom. Your asses have to go. So the major slaves that were imported to the Americas were them. That's why when you talk to white people in the South, you ask them what their genealogy is, they say, "What? I'm white." They may know as much as that they're Irish. They may, or they may not even know that. They may have heard that they got some Scottish. They don't know that. But these were the Negroes. They were literally Negroes, and they were Negroes. So these Scottish and Irish Negro people were sent to work. They were sent as literal slaves, not no indentured service, because they didn't want their asses coming back. And so, really, the revolution, the Civil War was about freeing their asses, not us. This whole daggone Harriet Tubman thing was just to remix the damn truth so you wouldn't know what powers that you had as landowners and how free so many of us were. The theft is very recent. It didn't happen in the 1600s. It really didn't happen in the 1700s. It happened in the late 1800s. Really, it happened in the 1900s. The real thefts, the real switcheroos. So,
And
so that's the thing. Y'all need to understand these people calling you chattel slaves, they're under the matrix. Are they really under the matrix, or are they getting paid to be in the matrix and to pull you in?
B, I say B.
Because being paid to pull us in.
Yeah,
They
because if
got our
you,
babies. They going to the college campuses. Yeah, don't you want you gonna have money? You're not gonna have all this debt because they got our babies going to college and all kinds of debt, y'all. All kinds of debt, getting a degree that they can't even use because they're gonna hire the African before them. And you can see that in the movies because they hiring Africans before they hiring us in half of these movies we watch. So you think you go into these daggone jobs, they hiring Africans before you there too. Now your Jones name is a liability. You should be called Jafafi or something. Jacuti. I don't know.
no, I mean that it's happening in the sports world too.
Right.
In the sports world, that you have foreigners coming over here, and because, do you think our numbers are dwindling that bad?
Baby, if you look at what I see, nah, we got lots of young men in the world. I don't see white young men. I don't see them. Where they at? Show your white young men for me. Raise your hand, raise your hand, raise your hand. Where you at? I don't see them nowhere. But I see brothers. I see young brothers all over the place. And that's why they want to make feminize our boys, and they're gonna sterilize and feminize them. Because they can't handle seeing how many of us are coming around. They want to put toxins in our baby formula. They don't care. It's war. They'll do whatever it takes. They'll pump daggone crack into our neighborhoods, supplying the daggone crack pipes in advance. And you so stupid, you don't see the daggone sign. What kind of daggone, what the world? Crack pipe, not the people in this room, but you know how your friends you work with and all them dumb people. They don't see none of that. They don't see that anytime you got a president that has the audacity, the gall, and the boldness, and the balls to go ahead and say, I'm going to give you $30 million worth. I don't even know how many do you know how cheap a crack pipe is from China? That is a whole lot of crack pipes.
That's
That
30
means
million crack pipes.
that means it ain't gonna be just Wendy Williams. I'm gonna be smoking crack too.
Right.
Everybody's gonna have many crack pipes for that amount of money.
That'll be 30 million crack pipes. $1. Or
Well, wait a minute. How many Negroes are there? Is that for every? That just shows you he believes there's a whole lot of us out here because that's a lot of crack pipes.
Well,
Dog.
if you buying that many, I'm sure you can get them for like a quarter or 50 cents or something.
Man, it must be like a nickel, man, for that many, man. I'm just saying, y'all, that's a lot of crack pipes.
Now, imagine them saying that, and imagine how the people who lost people to that whole crack era, Imagine what they're thinking now.
I don't think they're thinking enough. I hope they're thinking of it enough because I don't think they are. I don't think they're thinking of it enough because to me, I feel like throwing tomatoes, like whatever in France. This needs to be like when they fucking turned up in France, the first time they need to. This should be people where he should have tomatoes thrown at his face for this kind of crap. This
Right.
is I'm throwing rotten tomatoes at you kind of level of stuff. We should be disgusted.
This
We should be disgusted. Tomatoes at your face, man. This is the end of it. Like if you should be so insulted by this. So insulted because just the thought of it, I hadn't I mean I've had drug issues in my family, whether it's crack per se. I mean, we had a variety of things. The boat, I don't know if y'all know, the PCP lace marijuana, that kind of stuff was a problem, making people real fucking crazy. I got some real crazy results in my family from that kind of thing. And then probably cousins I don't know were, hit by heroin or crack. I don't know. But anyway, the whole crack thing, the whole devastation of seeing what it did to people, seeing what it did to families. If you lived through that era and you were old enough to be cognizant of what it did, like many of us are. I mean,
it's like a
I'm so
bomb. It's like a bomb hit, y'all.
I'm so angry about that crap. Like that is the worst daggone thing that you could ever Who would imagine? And it shows us how desensitized we are to people being abusing us. The fact that could happen and you don't have. Did Jesse Jackson say anything? I'm just trying to ask y'all because I don't watch these people. Is Roland Martin mad? Is anybody angry?
No,
What about Hughley? What's his name? DL Hughley. Is he mad and upset?
man, you know what they tell them dudes? Do not move until I need you.
I know that daggone South African guy ain't saying shit because he almost got canceled before when he tried to say something that made sense. So, I mean, these people don't care, and he don't care, and none of these people care because guess what? They trying to kill us because we are, despite everything happening to us, we're still growing. We're still strong. Like I said, we can eat Skittles and daggone and hot Cheeto babies, and they still come out brilliant. It doesn't matter. Skittles and hot Cheeto babies, and they come out like geniuses.
Well, Pony Lock says a high school teammate, a high school classmate of hers, told her that it was fake news and that the Biden administration isn't passing out pipes. But let's say it is fake news. Did you see the news wires that was putting it out? These were major news wires. So
Yeah, yeah.
even if it is fake news, it did something to the people who suffered through that. They'll tell you it's anything. And you remember that about us. Whatever they say, you don't question, you swallow it. That's how we roll.
Right. And then the other bigger thing, ponytails, is this pony locks, is that this. If it was fake, why didn't Biden come out and do a public thing and say this is not true? Right? If it's not true, why didn't he come forward and say, you know what? That is false information. Because that's how bad it is. See, you got to tell your friend if this Biden didn't come out on the side of saying this is fake, I never said this, that's not going to happen, then you better believe it's true. And it's not literally, nobody said that he literally is going to pass out pipes. He has allocated $30 million for that, for a pipe program. And they're saying that it's for because the pipes cause people to get sores on their mouths, would cause them health. Baby, I ain't never seen a patient come in a hospital because of a pipe, a crack pipe sore. Are you freaking kidding me? Give me a break. That's the least of your worries. A sore on your lip from a crack pipe is gonna kill you? No, I don't think so. In fact, them people are kind of invincible anyway. So no, they're gonna sore on their lip is not gonna kill them.
So when you hear people say that we're in a spiritual war, that's the kind of ammunition used against you in a spiritual war. Remember, the African American is emotional. No thinking that's really ever done. Everything is just emotions. If they could say something like that, what do you think that'll do to your emotions? Or what do you think that'll do to you psychologically? These are the things we got to look at. Because and I know all y'all have heard, we in a war. We in a war. And most of us don't even see it. Most of us don't even care. With all this stuff being thrown at you, when you're supposed to be living your life peacefully, getting your family together, doing whatever it is y'all here to do, and you having foreigners throw ideas out like this to your children, and you not pissed? So, Lisa, what do you say we should do again?
Well, I'm just saying, at this time, this is the time when you need to be like throwing tomatoes, which you don't. I mean, we may not literally throw tomatoes, but you need to be daggone writing and daggone TikToking and daggone commenting and daggone tweeting your distaste, your tomatoes at this daggone Biden president for this crap and put this stuff out here. I tried to post some of this information when as soon as it happened, and Facebook would not even let that stuff go up. Like it wouldn't even let me post some of this stuff about the Biden crack pipes. I had to be covert and do a story, talk about something else and then insert the Biden crack pipes into that, weave it into it. That's how bad it is. They will literally take your shit down, but you need to be covert, get this out here, get your disdain and your discomfort. You write them. You can email the president, email these people, put the daggone energy out there because our energy counts. Believe it. Our energy counts. If we as a collective start moving and daggone voicing our energy in unison, we can change things. They're gonna backpedal the hell on out. They're gonna find something better to put that money to, and don't leave it open. Give them suggestions, okay? That's the power that we have. We have the power to move things, especially as the indigenous daggone landlords. We have the right to change everything.
And
We just
all
got to
you
know
have
what
to
to do it.
and all you have to bring up is look at what they do. This COVID shit is a perfect example. They're never right. They always messing shit up. Just that alone. If we had all, like she said, if we had all our energy going in one direction instead of all over the place. I mean, so I just want you to pay attention. You have all these foreigners coming over here. How do you think they look at the American Indian? Serious. And remember, if you went over there and you saw them acting like we act here, what would you think? What would you think? We just got to stop being just shell shocked in this one way of thinking. Never, because we never think. Got to look at this, what's really going on. You got some of the major cities all over the world. They're represented by damn near every nation on this planet. Is that right, Lise?
Yes, indeed. They definitely are. That's the truth. They definitely are.
So, it's up to us. It's not up to just me. It's not just up to Lisa. It's up to every single last one of it. And y'all know it. This is something you don't know. You're here for a reason. Why are you here? Ask yourself that. What are you doing here? Why'd you come here? No, ask yourself that question and answer it. You'll know when you'll get an answer, because one of the last things that yourself tries to do to you is to lie and trick you, because you can't, because you're watching whatever it is you do. I mean, you can, one thing the Negro has to fall back on is lying. And that's like his second language, lying. Be honest with yourself. Ask yourself some questions. Yourself is going to give you back the right answer. That's how powerful you are. But many of us don't even give our chance to do that, because we think we chattel slaves. My mama, when the mule got old, they just put my mama in her place. That's how we think. We black. No, seriously, isn't that what we do? Move, get that mule out the way. That's it. Get over there and take that mule place. That's how we think of our parents, our grandparents. Think they were, you honestly think they had a war, a 200-year war here, and your people were just bowing down playing Chicken George? You believe that because somebody told you? You didn't ask the black sheep in your family nothing? Talk to the black sheep in your family, the one that nobody can stand, because he or she done pissed everybody off with the truth. They'll tell you the truth. They'll tell you the truth. Talk to them. Find out about your family. If we had 200 hospitals and 1 million farmers at the turn of the century, you don't think none of them were your people? When all you see is the sisters are nurses here. Why? Because the Indian woman likes to take care of people, and she'll do it for free. They take care of people. That's their makeup. Talk to the cats who are in the military. They know things that you don't. See, they know they went over there and fought these other. Talk to the brothers in Vietnam and ask them, hey, you went over there and fought those Vietnam people in Vietnam. When you come back home, the Vietnamese are running the shrimping industry in New Orleans. How does that make you feel? Watch how pissed off they get. Hey, you went over there to Iran and Iraq, and you committed war upon those people. You tied them up, sick dogs on them and stuff. Now they're over here running your neighborhood economics. How do you feel about that? Watch them get pissed off. That's why we tell these kids, hey, man, leave that war alone. Because you won't fight for your people here, but you'll go fight for somebody else. And when a brother sees that's what he's done, he really feels like an asshole. That's why you see a lot of brothers on the street today. They're what do you call that? Disillusioned. They're know.
Post-traumatic.
Yeah.
Post-traumatic.
Yeah.
I
So
mean, how in the world is it that you go out there and you get used to do things that you can't erase from your brain ever? And then those same people won't even let you enter their store. Literally. You can't even walk in a store, and it's the same people that you was over there fighting, and the same people that was trying to kill you and killed your brothers out there fighting. And the thing is that the rich, the people that are pulling the strings of all this war that's against us, they make these wars, they negotiate these wars, which aren't real wars. They're not real. They're not for any justice or safety or a better world. They're just to thin the population like COVID. They're just to get rid of poor folks and working class folks. because they know we're the ones that are in the military running in there to do this stuff. Their kids ain't gonna be in it, not no way. So it's a great way to just get rid of a lot of people. A lot of our bravest and strongest people are just put out there for the slaughter on purpose. That's what war is. It's negotiated. Oh, and then after the war, that's why every time they build back them countries better than they ever was, because that was already in the plan.
And they got your ass saying thank you for your service. That's the most craziest shit I ever
Oh
heard.
no, I'm not against that, because see what they're innocent, they're naive and innocent in this. Them kids that go in there and they go in there and recruit them out in damn middle school, even younger than that, right? They got military people visiting them in middle school, getting them ready to go. It's like that's what they look,
Yeah,
y'all, think
yeah,
about this. They got police in our schools and they got military in our schools. They got ROTC in our schools, getting them already trained and ready to go. They got going to police with the daggone straps to daggone, put your kids in handcuffs, ready for you to go them to go right straight to the jail. They got our set up. We got a great trade program for jail and for the military. Okay.
right.
And so
Right, but I'm saying, okay. So just hear me out on this and tell me if I'm thinking right. So you're familiar with when Muhammad Ali was to go to the war, right?
yeah, I mean, this is the whole thing. I understand the whole thing of like
Can I finish?
Yeah, go ahead.
Just hear me out. So this cat said, listen, y'all, I'm not going to kill no people who are in the same condition in their country as I'm into mine. Now, he said this in the 60s. This was 50 years ago. And I'm saying for people, whatever complaint you got, he cleared up the problem by just not participating. So when we say we got police in our schools, you don't have no schools. You go to his schools and you sit down like a slave and you swallow whatever he tells you. It's not our schools, but we're under the impression that they are, and they're not. And that's what I'm saying. Our thinking has to change from that, because we'll be in the same place 100 years from now. This cat, and he was one of the most popular cats on the planet, if not the most popular cat on the planet. And the way that brother's been treated with the Korean War, what happened? The Koreans came over and took your shit. Vietnam War, what happened? Vietnamese came over and took your shit. Iran and Iraqi War, they came over and took your shit. And if we
what we're talking about it now, but the reality is that there are people that still don't understand this fact. You know what I mean? They don't get it. And as that stuff was happening, people didn't get it. I mean, a lot of people still believe that wars are really wars. I mean, they're really wars. It's just like with COVID. Is it a disease? Yeah, it's a disease. It's a man-made disease. And then you say, is it a war? Yeah, it's a war. People are actually killing each other. However, it's negotiated war. It's a pre-planned war. All these wars are pre-planned, premeditated, pre-negotiated.
facts,
People still don't know that. This is new news to the majority of the people. Most people think that wars are actually wars. Like they think these diseases that be coming out are really natural diseases, not man-made. They don't understand that these things are man-made devices to thin the population. They don't get it. This is new news. So Muhammad Ali was looking at it. First of all, let me be real about you. We have to be honest about that. If Muhammad Ali wasn't in that Muslim mindset, he wouldn't have had the cojones to do what he did. His religious conviction is what made him say, I object. It wasn't just his intellect. His
Well,
his religious, huh?
I don't. I wouldn't call it intellect. I was just saying it would. I think that
But
was
see, but he wasn't motivated by his understanding of the real politics. He was
what.
really motivated by his religious mindset in the Muslim movement.
Okay.
That's what really got
Okay.
him to object.
Okay.
I mean, I'm
So
just saying,
so
you
okay. Yeah.
can't give
Okay.
him that much credit for it.
No, 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 no. So you're saying that his whole, I mean, what he proclaimed to the Negro who was getting stomped around like today, you don't think those were words that the people needed to hear then?
I'm not saying that it doesn't matter whether they needed to see it. What I'm telling you is that the motivation behind it was not just his own pure intellect. It was his religious conviction that he was also tutored in.
If it was his
So I
religion,
mean, you can't give him all that. You really can't, because
uh,
it didn't just come from Cassius Clay from daggone St. Louis or wherever, who was like, "Nah, I'm objecting." No, it didn't come from him. It came from Cassius Clay. I'm now, Muhammad Ali, and I'm standing with this. What my teacher, my Muslim teacher, has said that this is not for me, right? So you can't give him all that. He wasn't that
you're
enlightened.
okay, okay, okay. No, I hear you. I mean, that makes see you make sense. I have no argument, love. I'm with it.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
But so
so
I mean,
okay,
I
okay,
mean,
no, no,
so
no. I just want to say that. So, would you say that was around the time, or could that been a plan to just splinter the community even more?
well, it did because yeah, I think it did splinter the community. It confused the community and it splintered the community because, at that time, the Muslim thing was something that was very anti. First of all, it's definitely anti-Christian, and
Right,
then the whole thing of him being villainized. You know what I mean?
right.
That divided the community. That made them feel a certain way about Muslims, about him, about Christianity, about what is right, what is wrong. It made people kind of confused and split up. We don't agree on this. We
Okay,
don't
hold up.
agree on this.
Hey, Elisa Inez, JT Smith. This is what I'm about to do. I'm about to put the. I'm about to put the so you guys can call in. I'm pasting it right now, and I want to hear what you disagree with, because I could see that whole Muslim thing splintering the
What?
community, especially when most people was Christians then.
Yeah, I mean, you got to understand that this is not what this is the '60s, right? You're not. This was not a time when people were really accustomed, especially if you live in this below New Jersey. You're not around. It was mostly in New Jersey, New York, Philadelphia. That's when you see a lot of Muslims up in there going Chicago. In the South, you didn't see a lot of Muslim movement and all that kind of stuff. So for this to be something that he embraced and something that would make him look in the eyes of the white media as something that's like un-American, that's divisive. That's divisive with your church leader. It's going to be divisive with the parishioners. So that was a divisive thing. It was a divisive movement, actually. And the reality of it is that you know the whole war thing is contrived, and these people are being used. But at that time, it even then, I don't think it was actually as clear um how much of a daggone war tactic against the people these wars are. The war is not about war against another nation. It's about thinning the population. And because people still don't realize it till this day. And so when these kids are in these schools and the ROTC going on, and you got your daggone people trying to tell them they're going to get a check and they're going to get to go to college and do whatever they want and being trained in whatever they want to be trained in, they're not thinking that this is a mechanism to thin the population. Who's telling them that? Ain't nobody even thinking like that, let alone teaching the young people about it. So how are they going to stand up and say, I'm not going to fight a war of people that are oppressed and kill poor people over there so they can come over here and then, reap the benefits of what, and then, we destroy their city and then we're going to build it right back up afterwards. That's what we do every time. But nobody's really talking about it and actually teaching anyone that truth. You can't expect people to be smarter if we're not sharing that truth with them. I don't know. That's my thought.
Joining us now is Tyron Loon.
What's
Tyrone,
going on? I ain't heard from y'all in a minute. What's good?
what's going on, man?
Yeah, this is kind of off topic, but I wanted to know what was your thoughts on, if you ever heard of it, but what was your thoughts on that Shine Tariq Nasheed getting bullied by them Ethiopians and Somalians and Nigerians calling him niggers and apes?
What?
Yeah, they was calling them niggers and apes on Twitter and Clubhouse.
Yeah, I mean, they're all in this together. You know what I mean? Tariq is a foreigner. He's a foreigner. He is not an American Indian. He's not American Indigenous. He probably ain't even American European. He has no history in his country. He's a recent immigrant. He's probably the child of immigrants or
No,
even
Tariq Nasheed, he's from North America. He
no,
just don't expose his
no,
actual genealogy. He just claims that some Haitian 1804 crap, and
no.
he claims
If he
shit
no,
like
he's claiming Haitian, he's even probably
FBA.
he's claiming Haitian. He's not us. That's not our history. Okay, they have their own history.
No, he is a black
I have
American.
I
He
have
just
Haitians in my
claims
family.
random
I have
shit.
Haitians that's married into my family. They have their own history. They're French. Okay, so
Yeah.
no, he's not us. So I mean, that's the whole thing. He's a foreigner, and he's sitting up there trying to have smoke on things that he doesn't even affect him. That's not his history. Okay, so you can't really say anything about what's going to affect indigenous people when you're not a part of that plan. Not in any way. You ain't got no land grants. You ain't got no tribal history, no daggone nation here. What are you doing? He is just an agent,
Yeah.
and so
So
are
what do
those
you think
Africans.
about his whole FBA maroon documentary that he trying to come up with, capitalizing on Black American, or aka American Indian, contributions to world history in this landmass?
He's just a scammer. He's trying to get. I mean, the man is what? Is he a rapper or something? He's
He
trying to be
was a
famous.
rapper, but he's
Yeah.
now like a figurehead in the quote unquote African American community, conscious community.
All these people that are former rappers, wannabe stars, they're just using this as a venue to be famous and to get money. And we let them because we support it, because we just are super fans. We want to be super fans of everybody. Now that's just ridiculous. He's an idiot. He has no daggone business getting any money or any likes from anybody based upon his daggone based upon anything that he's done in the past or anything that he knows now, because he don't know nothing. And all he is a government agent. Half the stuff that he puts out, he don't even do that. He got people working on it. They got a whole team of people. He's just a front man. Y'all need to understand that buck breaking and all this stuff. He is a government agent being paid. There's a whole team of people working behind the scenes, getting all the stuff done that he does.
And remember, you were just African a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, do a lot of thinking. Check out your family, research your family. Like Lisa said earlier, you're going to find some interesting stuff in your own family. Tyron, we got to move on to the next caller, man. Thanks for calling, homie. All
You're
right.
welcome.
All right. Miss Elisa Inez, how you doing? Thank you for joining African Americans Ain't Africans.
Hey, pretty good. Now
Cool.
you have to bear with me because this is my first time using this type of
You fine.
program. This is pretty neat.
Yeah, you cool. You all good. No, you were saying something a little while back.
Yeah, I was just saying I disagree with what she was saying because I knew him. I mean, I know a lot of these people that you're speaking about, and it was just kind of off. I don't even know where to start because it was so much going on during that time.
What time?
And a lot of what my family talked about and what they knew about him and the interactions, a lot of these people, they didn't get the same rights as white people did. A lot of people were able to avoid even going to war altogether. And then others, they had to go. So it wasn't just his religion. A lot had to do with him as a man, too. There was a lot of choices that blacks were making back then that were not popular. There were black people that didn't like him because of his choice. And that same crap still goes on today.
Yeah, that's what I said. That I'm sure it was very divisive to do that because Christians were probably were upset because
But
that he
I
had
mean,
made
just
it,
just even
for him
taking
to
out
be.
Christianity and religion, I'm just saying him as a man, as a
Well, I mean
black
that's true for
man in
that's true.
America, and what he was trying to stand for, he couldn't do that, but a white man could.
I mean that's a given. That's a given. That's
But
with
it wasn't
everything.
said. So when you were saying it, that's why it just didn't sound right to me
But that's yeah,
because
but that's a given thing about us. Anytime we do something, a white people. First of all, like I said, I actually did say it at the top of it. I said that privileged people don't go to war. Period.
right,
Their kids
right,
don't go.
right. I agree. I agree with you.
I said that at the very beginning. I said that war is actually to thin the population.
No,
It's
I
to
okay,
send
wait a minute.
us. It's
I'm
to
agreeing
kill
with
us.
you on
Yeah.
that. The part that I didn't agree with is that you were saying that the religion was more of what made him move the way that he moved, and that was not true.
Well, let me tell you though, because if he was Cassius Clay before he became a
But how do you know this?
because he
How do
stated
you
it. I'm going
how
by
do you
what he stated. He
how do you
stated
know this?
because he stated that he was a Muslim, and he wasn't just a conscious objector. He objected on religious grounds. You have to object with a reason. You can't just be like I ain't going to
But
war.
how do you know this that you're
He
saying it that
stated
it
it.
was
I'm going by what he stated. He stated because of his Muslim belief. He said that, and he did reference the Elijah Muhammad. He did in his objection to going to war.
yeah, but it was more to it because there were other
I'm just
people.
saying what he said. I'm saying what he said. I
But
can't. That's all I can
it
go by.
wasn't it wasn't solely that. I mean, it was a combination.
I didn't say it was solely that, but I did say that's what he said. Right. That's all I did. That's all I can go by is what he said.
Yeah.
I'm sure, just like with everything, there's more to it. But
Yeah, and that was the
that's all I
thing.
can go.
There was so much more to it, and just like now, there's so much more to it. And these black men don't really have a chance. And it's not always about religion, but they also don't even have the support. So even though the religion you may be against it, I mean, it's just like now
No, I'm not
with
against it. It's not even for or against. That's not it. It's just that when me, it was really I was having a little thing with the indigenous one where I was saying, look, these kids are in school and they're being kind of pushed to do this, and you think that we would know better by now, but really we're not really looking back and learning or teaching anybody to know better. So when they're faced off with, because we're in a reality, if we actually knew better, we would be drumming these military programs out of our schools. We say we don't want these military people recruiting in our schools. You know what I mean? If we really knew better, but we don't. Or like Indigenous one said, we wouldn't even have our kids in these schools, right? So it's one thing to say, okay, we're going to start our own schools, because that can happen. We can do charter schools. We talked about that, but that's an effort. That's something that's requires more time, more organization. In the meantime, you could at least take charge of what goes on in your own community schools by being involved with the board, or speaking up about this, or drumming the police presence out of the schools, drumming these ROTC whatever programs out of your schools, so
so
there won't be
you're
a
saying
pipeline.
that the young black men should not join the military.
What I'm saying, well, that's what we were saying. We were saying this is the thing. What is the military? What is the military? It's really more of a mechanism to thin out our population, right? Is it really what?
I mean, I don't necessarily agree, but I was just trying to understand. I
Well,
was just trying to understand
Elisa,
because I,
Elisa, what do you think it is?
well, I think there's a lot going on, and I wouldn't necessarily say that. Put it
No,
this way, I want our boys.
it's a simple answer.
It,
What is
it's not
the reason for
necessarily
what are
simple
the reasons
because
for hospitals? What are the
well,
reasons?
and what I'm trying to say is that what's really bad right now is what I did agree with you on is you were saying about the black men and the gayness and this tearing down of our black men. I wholeheartedly agree with that. I'm not sure necessarily if not joining the military would help anything because we got a lot of problems even within the household. And a lot of stuff that we don't even want to acknowledge that we know to be true. Whether we're talking about um, you could just pick any black man that has gone to jail over a situation, and we don't sometimes want to accept that what he did was wrong. You see what I'm saying? We try to make excuses for him, and the white man did this and that to him. And yes, indeed, all this is going on. But there are some things that even our own communities are doing to our black men that ain't right. We have a lot of judges who are helping out the system to remove our black men from society on charges that should not be 10, 20 years. I mean, there's just to me there's a lot going on, and I don't think just not joining the military and stuff is going to help the situation that we have currently.
So what has the military bought? What good have the
Well,
military?
there's a lot that the military can teach you. There's a lot that you can learn. There's a lot that you can make the military work for you. I mean, my stepfather was in the Air Force, and back in the day, he was the man because he was working with the aircraft, and at that time, of course, that was a rare job to have because he was a black man. Um, my uncle owned his own computer company, so these black men were considered successful, and that's how they knew Muhammad Ali and a lot of these people because they all kind of were in that same little network of people. And there was just so much going on at that time, and they didn't even always agree. So when I hear stuff so generalized, it just sometimes it's not really reflection of the complicity of everything that went on at that time and why that decision was made.
Well, we're
Elise,
not we can only be general when we're talking about something generally. So you can't like I can't we were talking about something specific, right? So I can't
Right.
talk
And
about
and not
every
like
little
now we're talking about joining the military. And
no,
if they
well,
if they
no, that's not what we weren't really. We were saying, well, we were really saying what is. I was saying, what is war? What is the purpose behind war? And then it was the talk of, well, why are people still doing it when it's just
right,
ridiculous? And I
right,
said, and I
right,
was saying that because we have a strong presence in our schools, we have, people haven't really discussed that what war really is. Now, this is the thing, like if you okay, so I don't know if this is the thing. Just about everybody in my family was in the military. I was a military
right,
wife. Okay,
right,
I was a military spouse. Okay, so and in addition to that, my brother was in Vietnam, my dad was in World War II, et cetera, all the way to the Revolutionary War. So there's a
right,
lot of daggone people in the military in my family. I'm
right,
not trying to down the
right,
as far as people being soldiers, and we should be proud of people
right,
who
right,
who reach a certain level. But at the same time, there's a certain point when you have to realize what are you fighting for, and
right,
what are these wars really. That's just when you're self-actualizing, when you're realizing the true picture of what is going on. You have to look at it through a lens a little closer. Yeah,
right,
you might be able to get a job. Yeah, you might have a craft, a career, and education. Yeah, it might get you cleaned up and give you discipline. Yeah, those are benefits. Those are cool. But at the same time, it might get you killed instantaneously. Like it,
Right.
you know what I mean? And that's the chance you're taking. But and also in that, it might mess your mind up forever.
Right.
And that's a
But
lot. And
what
a lot of
I'm trying to
let me
understand
finish
is
that. Let me finish because I didn't interrupt.
okay.
And a lot of us end up hooked on drugs with the military. Now, that's the other thing that nobody wants to talk about is that, especially with Vietnam, most of the heroin addicts were actually hooked when they were in the military. I don't know if anybody's aware of that, or
Well,
maybe it's
yeah,
just me.
they gave them heroin. The military has stepped up to the plate and
Smoking,
said that
most of
they
the
gave it to
smoking
them.
and alcohol is encouraged in the military. So we
Right.
have to also be mindful of that. So it's
Right.
a chance that you're taking by pushing that as an option for people. For everyone, is the outcome is not going to be a good outcome.
Right.
It's not going to build them up and make them a better person and give them opportunity. For some people, it could actually end their lives. It could bring on addiction and problems and health problems. That's a lot of people also. And then
Right.
at the root of it, you have to understand that a lot of this is just all contrived to just destroy the the peasants of the world, to put these peasants against each other to decrease the population. Is really not for any kind of lofty thing. And that's how we started this whole thing. It's because he said, because the indigenous one said, I can't believe people are saying thank you for your service. And I was getting ready to say, well, come on now. I still actually think that, because they go in there and they're doing what they think is best, and they are trying to nobly, you know provide a service. I'm not gonna say that it's wrong to say, yeah, they need to be thanked, because they're not going here thinking they're doing something that's just ridiculous, or they wouldn't be doing it.
Right. Well, no, I mean, I'm definitely listening to what you're saying. Um, there's a lot of stuff being thrown out there, but what I wasn't hearing was, well, okay, what were you saying that was a solution? So you're saying you didn't want them in the schools. So what were you saying? Were you saying that you want our kids to be doctors and lawyers instead of joining the military? What was, because like I said, when he made that choice, there was a lot at that time that was going on. And even though our kids aren't going through what they were going through back then, there's still some undertones that exist today. And there's parts of things that exist in our community that we also need to address. So we can't really blame everything on everybody else.
Going somewhere else and fighting somewhere in some other country and killing some other downtrodden people is not going to make anything better in our communities. We can
It's
definitely
not.
say that.
It's
Because
not.
you know so that's one thing for sure.
But what
um
but what do you think will help our black men? What do you think, if you're saying to, take that ROTC out of our schools because
Well, I
it's
think
just
I think we need to start having organizations that are going to build them up. Whether it's a scout program that is a truly a scout program that can
mhm
actually give them that kind of like manhood training, that kind of direction, and give them trades and skills and teach them how to take care of their car, take care of their finances,
mhm
how to take care of their selves and
mhm
cook and whatever it is. Life
okay
skills, building skills, technical skills, computer skills, whatever those things are, they're gonna make them better people that can actually build a stronger, better nation for us. That's what we need, and that's what we need to probably be taking over instead of like just standing on the sidelines,
okay
saying it.
so
We could build a program that will work for them.
so do you think if we all got together and wrote to this Black Lives Matter
Oh
and
my
said
God. Oh
all this,
no. No, no,
wait,
no, no,
wait,
no.
let me finish. And we say, can we get some of that money and implement some programs in our schools for our black men? Do you think that Black Lives Matter will hear us and possibly help make some of those changes with all that money they got?
They just ran off with that money. That
I,
money's
I know,
missing.
but can we still hold them accountable?
I mean, yeah. I mean, there's no reason why you can't. First of all, I'm not black, so I don't, I don't really have any support or any. I don't really respect or support that whole fake organization. But
Hmm.
if I don't know. I just so I would. It just makes me want to stammer and stutter just to think of taking money from them and their slimy, scammy selves.
Hmm.
But if I didn't have a problem taking their slimy, scammy money, then sure, why not? If that's
Well,
what
I
you're
mean,
doing.
because we taking slimy, scammy money from everybody else, we might as
Right.
well get it from the people who are, thriving off of these dead black people.
That's fine.
And let's try to make some changes so we can save some of our black boys, because this is terrible. What's going on right now is crazy.
Right. And there's a lot of them. And that's why everything's coming at them. That's why they're trying to throw everything at them at once. Fentanyl, crack, heroin. They're trying to make everything appealing,
Right,
to them. And their music is garbage and it's promoting them killing each other. And they're
right,
putting guns, they put, trucks full of guns, just open trucks
right.
in neighborhoods
And dropping them off.
and drop them off, and then
Right,
they were, oh, they're killing each other. They do that on purpose.
right,
You have guns and ammo there just given out to people. People don't know how to shoot guns. They're gonna kill people. It's gonna happen.
right,
Instead of getting mad, you can't take back a bullet. Instead of talking to each other or punching each other, they're daggone murdering each other.
right.
So that's
But
what's
I, I,
happening.
I guess I'm just, like I said, I'm just really trying to understand, because we all know the ills, we all know what's going on in our communities, but what are we going to start doing to help make these things better, to change, to,
Well,
I mean,
I can tell you this is one thing. I think really the fact that, because this is the indigenous one, and the reality is that if we start actually organizing ourselves and our families,
mm-hmm,
and repatriating or reorganizing ourselves as Indians, first of all, we have the right to
mm-hmm,
self protect and self govern, which
yeah,
is a major thing for our young people.
right,
Like, I'm not fully there yet, but
uh-huh,
I have the foundation of the fact that they know that the Yakamac Indians, and that they don't have jurisdiction, and we can actually self protect ourselves
right,
in the county that our people are from. I
right,
don't have all these babies in the fold yet,
right,
but I have the mechanism to help them once they come into the fold. And so that's the thing. We need to start recreating ourselves into our rightful identities, so we have that ability to self-protect, to say, look, you can't just lock my kid up. You can't lock
right,
this young man up.
right,
You can't do this. We got drugs in our neighborhood. Why are you allowing this in there, but you're locking him up for using? That
right,
kind of thing. No,
right,
so
right.
we can do that. We have the
that
ability to do
that's
it.
what I'm saying. We don't have the planes. We don't have any of the tools to bring it into the neighborhoods.
Yeah. Yeah,
But yeah, we're
but you can. It's there. But everything has to be created. So like when one of my Acamac ended up with cocaine charges,
hmm,
then I was able to actually say, look, she's not in your jurisdiction, and it worked. She didn't have a record.
hmm,
She didn't go to court. That actually happens when you really are your real identity, and you really are honest with your records and who you are, and they know who you are. They know.
right,
When you're really organizing under who you are, they know. And so that there is that power is there. The mechanism for us to actually get out of this is there. But
okay,
we're so busy being distracted by everybody talking about all this other stuff, and all
right,
these fake people like
r-
what's his name, Tariq Nasheed, and all these other people like
r-
these Nigerians, Janice, and all these other people that are just fraudulently trying to lead you down some other path, that you
right,
don't realize that in our communities, our families, we can actually get our kids out from under. We can actually self protect. We can actually self govern. We can actually get the funding to do everything. We can have our own electric company and not even have to use our dollars. We can have our own. We can have our own. Schools with the
yeah,
charter schools. We can do all of that. That's all
right.
possible.
And we've done that before.
We've done it
We
before,
Yeah.
but now we have to do it as a people, knowing who we really are, as a people
Well,
that we
and
really
that's the
are.
thing. We know that whether it was the bombing in Oklahoma. I mean, we've had our black neighborhoods. The only thing we have not had is the protection from the extremists, from the so-called Christians and all these other outside
I
entities
don't I
that
don't
did
even
not.
know if that, I think it's government. I think the actual government is behind that. They give the okay and the let go and the funding and the, I mean, because they don't have bombs, all these, they don't have planes and bombs. They would, this is the government, right? So even with Katrina, who broke the levee, who bombed the levee, these flooding of towns, all this stuff is government. Okay, it's really the government's behind this.
So how would you get protection? Now, if we rebuild again, what's going to stop them from
But see,
destroying it
this is
again?
the thing. Every time we've rebuilt as a lost people, as a people who thought they were Negro, as a people who thought they were black, as a
But
people who
not
thought,
all of us have thought like that. Just like you're saying that you're indigenous, I'm saying I'm indigenous.
no,
The
there's
you
there's a
the
difference. There's a difference, see, because before, even though my grandfather knew that they were this or that,
mhm.
there wasn't, we didn't know our rights, right? We didn't know that we had all this documentation and rights,
We knew
right?
that. I mean, I knew that. I knew that. My family knew that.
How
We
long
knew.
how long have they known it?
Oh, we known since 1600s and longer than that.
And you let
The
everything go?
No, it they didn't let it go. You know, a lot of the parks, the freeways and stuff that we have now, the land was taken.
So how
So
did
that,
that happen? I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just what the
but that's why I'm asking, how do you protect yourself
you,
from the same
the
thing that
thing. I
happened
mean,
in?
this is the thing. If you, this is the thing. If you, the thing that you, because we've known each other, we known our stuff from the 16th. But see, we didn't know, because
No,
if
we did.
you can't
We
claim,
knew.
no, no,
My
you,
family knew.
I mean, if this is the thing, you can't claim that you know and you're that stupid at the same time, or else you are
No,
that stupid
because
at the same time.
okay,
Because
well,
because
let me say why I feel the way I feel. Because I've only been on this phone for how many minutes? So I'm telling you about something, but the biggest problem that I've had about telling other people that look like me about something is, for one, you don't have the support. Two is like, I'm trying to tell you something that happened. And if I even compared it today, like our government is telling you that these people can stay in your house for free and not pay you. But I'm stupid. You got a house? Some people staying in it right now and they not paying rent. That's how they do it.
no, it's
It is
not.
that simple. So
Okay,
that's
I
what I'm
mean,
trying
well,
to explain to you. When they
then
get
just,
ready to build
I
a
mean, if that's
freeway,
what, I mean, I don't believe that. You can believe that, but
but
if
that's
you,
what I'm trying to
but
tell you. I'm
listen,
trying to tell you, those of us who know our history and know who we
I
are.
know my history and I know who I am, and
Okay,
I'm
so
telling
I know
you,
mine too.
but
And
the,
I'm telling you how we lost our land. I'm
okay,
telling you how they
and
made it legal.
okay,
So
no, they,
now I'm
no,
trying to tell you, how do we prevent it from happening again?
well, obviously, if you still don't, okay, this is the thing. This is the thing. If you still don't see that what happened in the past, first of all, most of people, how they lost their land was people, our own people, undoing us out of our own land.
Okay.
It was side deals, it was compromises, it was greed. So it
So
wasn't
you
just,
don't see a similarity today with the government telling somebody that they can stay in your home and not pay you?
there is a similarity, but they don't have rights. What are these people? What are these people that people are saying that they can stay in their, in your house and not pay you? You're talking about with the money that from the COVID, or are you talking about that
No,
landlord?
what just what I exactly said, that they said that there's no evictions right now.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, I don't know where, what state that is or
That's
whatever.
all states. Because of the COVID. They did not want a whole lot of people becoming homeless, and if they were not working and so forth, they want you to stay in place.
People were evicted. People have been evicted
No, but
before
there are
this.
some people that's still in place and not paying rent.
Oh, well, I guess people missed that opportunity to get people at their house, because there was a period where people were being evicted, like this summer and in the spring, people were being evicted in Georgia. I know that. But anyway, I mean, the reality is, yeah, the government does certain things because they try to fight. They're
Okay,
trying to.
So
financially
that
crushed. Okay, let
that
me let me get a word out. Let me get this out.
oh,
Okay.
you had a lot of words. I'm just trying to get clarification because
No,
I've
you're
been there,
not.
my
You're not, because
family's been there,
you're not
and
letting
when
me
I'm trying
finish.
to tell somebody something, I want to know what
Let me
is it that you.
finish. Let
Okay.
me tell you what I have to tell you. You just said something. Let me respond to it. The fact is, you're talking about the government doing certain things. These people are these people who are falling under the government and they're letting the government tell them what to do are not under their nation. Are they under their nation? Answer that.
Is who under the nation?
People who you said are losing their own house and people are being made to stay in their house because because the government is mandated it. They
Okay,
mandated it. Are
this is
they
the
under
thing.
their nation?
We have one president. Now I know a lot of people disagree with this and not say that Biden is not a president. So if the president says at this time we want to cease all evictions and that we want you to stay in place, that's what happens.
But
At
guess
least here,
what? But
that's
guess
what.
what? If you're under your nation, then the president doesn't have jurisdiction because you predate that the United States, right?
No,
You yes.
no.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's what that's the difference. You're asking for solutions, but you don't want a solution.
No,
You want to
I'm listening to you. I want them. I want
if
them.
you want a solution, the
Okay.
solution is to be within your nation. And your rights are only what you actually state your rights are. If you do
Okay.
not
So,
okay, let me
okay, what
finish.
you just gave me.
Let me finish
But
my
wait a minute. I
thought.
want to work with you. I want to hear this. So I've got a question for you before we go on. So what you're telling me is that on the res, even with these casinos and with the government coming in and saying this is what you're going to do to your money,
No.
you're still telling me that the
No.
government don't have the right to do that? Or are you telling me?
Reservations are government welfare no states. They're not
Okay.
reservations are not free. They're not
Okay.
free nations. That's
Okay.
why you're like
Okay.
a welfare state if you're a
Okay.
reservation. That's
I'm
not what I'm
I'm
talking
with you.
about.
I'm with you. I'm
So
understanding.
that's why I said you have to repatriate your people as the free pre-colonial people that they were, not a reservation. I would never ask to be recognized because that's an insult. How dare you recognize me? You can't recognize me. I need to recognize you, United
Right.
States. So that's a whole
I'm in
different level.
agreement. I'm in agreement with you. I
That's
agree.
a whole different level. And then that means that as being a nation, repatriated, pre-colonial, you say, look, these are I'm setting the rules. We have our own jurisdiction. Of course, that means you also ultimately have to have everything yourself. That means police, fire, that kind of stuff, unless you negotiate contracts with the United States or the county or whatever, on a, whatever contract basis, you have to kind of have your own stuff. But the reality is, you have to lay the land. You have to say, look, this is what we have. We have our own laws. We have our own constitution. And this is not going to, what we do here
Hmm.
you can't control.
And this is what's happening where you're at right now.
That's what I'm in the process of doing where we are at. Yes, that's exactly what I'm doing. And so when I dealt with the whole thing of one of the Yakamax being in a situation with that cocaine charge, it
Hmm.
was like communicate to the district attorney. She and look, she's an Accomack Indian. Plus, you use the actual laws that they have in place for themselves. As far as there are laws that did apply to her situation. Of course, you use those, but we're dealing as a nation that is
Okay.
on her side, and she is the property of our nation. She is not under your jurisdiction. She
Hmm.
got scared because it's a major charge, and so
Hmm.
she hired a lawyer.
Understandable.
And I said, "Oh my God, that's understandable, but I wish you had let us do what we need to do to rock it out."
Hmm.
But I would be scared too. It's a major charge. And she hired the lawyer, and then 3 months down the road, the attorney was like, look, you're gonna have to do this, you're gonna be restitution, you're gonna have a record, you're gonna have to. And she was like, what? And
Hmm.
so she tells me this, and I'm like, oh, they're criminalizing you. That's great. And so then I said, let's go to the district attorney, talk to the district attorney. He was like, look, She has an attorney. I wish I could talk to you. I said they're criminalizing. She was like, you're criminalizing her. She's a victim here. He was like, look, I can't talk to you. She has an attorney. I went out to the truck. I told her to fire the attorney. She fired the attorney. I sent a letter announcing that she's going to be represented by her tribal nation, not this attorney.
Hmm.
I told her to deliver it to the court. She didn't. She faxed it in. I was like,
Oh.
what? And then she went to go deliver the letter in person, and they
Hmm.
said the charges had been dropped.
Oh. Oh, that's nice.
So
Now, is this in California or Arizona or where?
that's in Virginia,
Oh, okay. All
right?
right.
So I mean, this can happen, but for everything that you think of, you have to be ahead of it. Like you have to, you have to negotiate what the limits and boundaries are, right? You not really
True.
negotiate it, but really you have to announce it, right? You have to announce it to them and say, look, this is what it is with the police department, this is what it is with the district attorney, this is what it is with the state department, this is with the IRS, this is what it is with the schools. You have to kind of create this whole government and create your power structure, and
So,
that's what has to happen.
okay,
And but that
so
can happen. That's what
oh
I'm
no,
saying. It can happen.
I'm with you. I'm just trying to get it. And so what you're saying is that you have to have your own land, to have your own jurisdiction, and and know your rights in order to protect yourself from the government, the police, and all these other entities that are impacting us.
No, I don't think. No, it's not even that you have to have all this whole homeland, because the whole peninsula was our land, right? So it's
Okay.
not even that. We just have a little few plots of land. That's not the it's not the physical land, but we're fighting. I'm in a court case for our more, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
but at the same time, it's really about you establishing yourselves as a people and a nation, and you don't need a lot because you
So,
already are that. You don't,
so
you know what I mean?
I can be that right now, just sitting here.
Well, I mean, you could be that. Yeah, you and your family and your people could be that. Cuz if you have a real history and you have a real people.
Right.
So what you need to do is establish your affidavits, establish yourself as who you are and say, "Look, we're pre-colonial. These are our rights." You
Okay.
know?
Okay.
According to the ANDRIP, the UNDRIP, the Constitution, there's so many different things that give you rights, and it's listed in my affidavit. I would be glad to share it with you if you know
Yeah, I mean,
inbox me
I'm
or
serious.
email me or whatever.
I
But I
really
mean,
want to know because
this can be
you
done.
know the rights, and like you said, if you don't know your rights, then you know how you're going to protect yourself.
Right, and they know our rights, but as long as we don't know them and we
Right.
don't exercise them,
Mhm.
you're never going to get it. They're never going to tell you that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? They're not going to give you it. They're not going to just
They're
hand it
not going to give you
over.
the benefit of the doubt and the grace
No,
that we're expecting them to give
no.
us.
Dude, no. As long as we're in a slave state, we're gonna stay slave state. But until we actually realize who we are and that we can rise up and be the landlords, the people of the land, you
Mhm.
know, the sole people of this land, the
Mhm.
caretakers of this nation, then we're never gonna be that.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your patience with me. I wasn't trying to be stupid, but
No,
I'm
I don't.
stupid about it.
No, I
You know.
wasn't trying to. I'm sorry if I didn't mean to call you stupid. I could be kind of rude, but I'm sorry. I didn't mean to act like I was impatient, but it's just that I think I assume that people hear me say this so much that I don't like to say it over again because I feel
Mhm.
like I repeat myself all the time. So I kind of assume that people already know that what the story is. But I'm sorry, yeah, and yeah, it's just we have this ability and it's real and it actually does exist, and we have in it. It's what's right, but there are very few of us who are willing to make that happen or have the bones to get it done. You have to have
Mhm.
that structure, that foundation, right? Sounds
Yeah, I
like
mean,
you have the
I'm loving
foundation
it.
already,
I'm loving
right?
everything you're saying. I'm loving everything I'm hearing. The only problem, like I said, that I've had with a lot of it is just getting that support and people to really understand how stuff has been taken away and we're still trying to figure out how we gonna get it back. I mean, that's why people now are trying to show you receipts that we own this property. But some stuff, they've built parks, they've built freeways. You know, the government will come in and say we need this land because of XYZ.
But guess what? You may not realize this, but even like in my family, back in the 70s and 80s,
Hmm.
there's a family that I know of that were given 650 acres, but they just didn't tell anybody else.
Right,
You know what I mean? I don't
right.
know if that's true in your family. You'd have to, search, the
We
chat.
got. I could tell you about ours. We got a lot of stuff, and part of the problem too is some of them won't say anything because they're trying to get it,
Right, exactly.
and
So
they don't want the other ones to have it. And the ones
right,
that do have money don't talk to the ones that don't. The ones that can pass for white ain't
right,
trying to keep up with the darkies.
right.
So it's a
So,
lot going on.
so the lighter skinned, straight haired people were able to claim their identity back in the 70s and 80s. This one family, they didn't tell anybody else. They didn't share with their first cousins or second cousins. They didn't tell anybody else who has that same exact
Right.
lineage and that same exact right. But they kept that to themselves. That's fine. But see, but that should not make us discouraged. That should encourage us, because if they could get that and then slide it to the side and keep it to themselves, that means there's way more that you can get and obtain for the people that are going to share, right?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, like I said, I'm just trying to see how it's all supposed to work. I mean, it's just like my Aunt Sarah, the one out of Florida. The government was supposed to give them money, and they didn't get the money. And there was one story that I pinned to my Twitter page because her last name was Davis, and that
Mm-hmm,
was my Aunt Sarah's last name was Davis,
mm-hmm.
and she hired an attorney to try to get them to fight for her money, to
Okay.
fight for her rights.
Mm-hmm. Well, I
And
mean, attorneys, a lot of these attorneys in these counties, right?
mhm,
They work for the wealthy people often of these counties, and they're in cahoots, and they're in the court
right.
system with
Oh, I
all
know
the
how that
they're all
works.
in cahoots. I mean,
Right.
my suit is pro se. That means I'm doing it myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find that that's probably the only way I could do it, because I did hire an attorney, in all
Mm-hmm.
honesty, like a couple of years ago,
Mm-hmm.
and all she did was take me for a wild roller coaster ride, take my
Mm-hmm.
money,
Mm-hmm.
and really I ended up worse off. I had negotiated myself further along without
Mm-hmm.
her. After
Right.
her, she had made me go backwards, right?
Right.
So that's what they do. They just take your money, they take you on a wild ride, and they actually get you further behind than what you were to begin with. And so
Correct.
that's the problem with it. That's why we have to do things on our own. We have to fight in the courts by ourselves. And that's part of I think that's a part of the process of what everyone's going to have to do if they do this also. They're going to have to do that on their own,
Okay.
you know, all
Well,
of it.
I think what you're saying is just golden. I don't know if you can put it in like for dumb folks terms, but it would really help a lot of us because it comes natural to you, but to us, it's not flowing that easily.
No, it's not
To
natural at all. This is all not natural. This is
uh-huh.
totally out of my realm. It's
Okay.
just because, I've taken the steps. I've been forced into it. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
whatever you want to say, like, the
Okay.
ancestors are leading me. I
Mm-hmm.
absolutely, God and the ancestors, that is everything. Like, the first year I was completely in a trance. I have no idea what I did. But no, seriously, I was
Uh-huh.
totally in a trance. And so, these things, you just have to take that first step, and then your people will lead you the rest of the way. But you just
Right.
take those initial steps, and it'll start flowing, and then we have to support each other through it. Those of us that
Okay.
are trying to do the right thing for the right reasons, we have to actually help each other.
Okay.
And I'm for that. I'm for you. Whatever you need to know and do, I'm here.
Okay. Well, I appreciate your patience. I appreciate you guys bringing me on because I'm hearing it, but I'm like, well, wait a minute. Some of this isn't, so I appreciate it. I really do appreciate you.
Okay, thank you for hanging with us
Thank
tonight.
you.
Hmm.
All right, Lisa, you got time for one more?
Sure. Let's do it.
Okay, this is Cotton Picker. What's going on, Cotton Picker?
Why do you say it like that?
'Cause that's how it's written. You there, cotton picker?
You might have lost cotton picker. Uh-oh.
Oh, okay.
Are they muted? Are they muted? I can't see.
Oh,
Okay.
all right. Well,
Oh
let's
no,
do.
no, no. They're offline. They need to come back on. That's how it looks like.
No, they're on.
No, I see a little spinny thing, or is it me? Because for me, it's spinning.
Oh, I see it. I mean,
That means they're not connected yet, right?
all
Oh
right.
well. So that was cool. Oh,
Yeah. Well,
you
cool.
lost
Look.
the. See if can you try to get cotton picker back?
Uh-huh.
All right,
Cotton
try.
picker. You there, cotton picker? That's what it says.
I know it's funny. Oh, okay.
So you see,
Yeah, it sure does. Yeah, I see it now.
cotton picker.
Oh, they got a bad connection. That's what it is.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool. So that's what I'm saying. It's just how people speak here, you know.
Right.
So the people down in Georgia speak different from the people in Missouri. So he called himself cotton picker.
Cotton
So
picker.
that's right.
There you go.
Ain't nothing wrong with that. You never picked no cotton.
No, I can't. I can't. I must admit, cotton didn't. We didn't grow cotton. They grow cotton as a just as an oppressive, decorative crop in Virginia, just to show off their plantations. That's what they do in Virginia. We never really were cotton growers. We were more, you know,
Tobacco.
tobacco, and we still grow tobacco. We still grow tobacco and corn and sweet potatoes and tomatoes, and potatoes. All right. So anybody else want to come up? Somebody else coming? Somebody with a better connection maybe than Cotton Picker? Yeah,
Yeah,
they're having connectivity issues.
it's cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
look, uh, it's getting late here.
Yeah, I know you are late. Okay, well let me thank everybody and Thank you so much, Indigenous One.
Listen,
And thank you to the chat.
you're very welcome into the chat. So look, remember, chattel slaves are subhuman. They're not even human. They're like Igor. They always looking up to somebody to get answers. Do not call yourself a chattel slave. Don't call yourself black. All these names and places that these people are coming around telling you that you are. Foundate, what, huh? Who were your people? Where did they live? Who did they call themselves? That's who you are. And you see, they're trying to erase that. See, that's what's really going on. They're trying to erase who you are. Don't let that happen. We're going to see you a little later on this weekend. We're going to have Jay Smith come through. Very interesting things and very interesting times we're living in. I know many of you guys see it. Most of you guys should see what's going on now. For those of you that don't, join us this weekend. We'll add for it later. Come check us out this weekend. We got some more goodies for you. So everybody have a good night, and we'll see you a little later. Peace.